Just wanted to post a review of a fun older radio for those of you who haven't taken the plunge and gotten one of the multi-thousand-dollar do everything, be everything radios. You do have some options. This is the Kenwood TR751A. It's a 2-meter all-mode transceiver. What does all-mode mean? We'll get into that. For now, I just want to do an overview of just what the radio looks like. This is the front. Standard tuning knob and a few other buttons and a few other great features that I'll get into a little later. Let's turn it on the side, and in the back you have your standard connections, regular antenna jack, a spot for a CW key, external speaker, and an auxiliary port. I don't use it, so it's covered in the manual as to what you can do with it. If you find one with a mobile bracket, get it, because these things are built like tanks. It just kind of slides off the radio with much effort, and very impressive piece of engineering. And it'll work on a few other radios too. It's not just for the Kenwoods. I've got another radio that I'll show you at some later date. And you just take the side tabs, clamp them down, and the radio's not going anywhere. So very nice mobile bracket, and much more impressive than what you typically get with a more modern receiver. So I'll go ahead and turn it on. And standard volume squelch knob here. You have on this side, for those of you who haven't used sideband before, RIT, which is receiver incremental tuning, and an RF gain adjustment here to help pull in weak signals and more importantly get rid of noise when you've got a signal that's strong enough. This is on 14652. One really neat thing about this radio, I'll cut a couple of these lights off, is the lights. There's one common frequency. It's just basically a one-touch frequencies you can go to. It'll say COM on these display lights up here. Your mode is displayed for you down here. In this case, we're in FM on 146.52, the standard 2-meter calling frequency, or simplex. The radio is smart in that it knows, and a lot of other radios of newer vintage also do this, but this is the first one I saw, what mode you would typically be in on a certain part of the band. So up here at 146.52, we're in FM. If I hit auto, get another light, which is nice, and so it knows it's supposed to be in FM. As I tune down, let's see, you got to go to the VFO. Auto will switch the mode to one of the sidebands. If we go down even further, it switches it to CW. So that's kind of a nice feature to have when you're playing with it, to kind of keep you in the right spot. So how do we use this thing? Like most Kenwoods, you have your standard 8-pin round jack, and go ahead and plug that in. The radio, or the mic I have with it, is just a standard mic. It does have up-down push button controls that will control radio. Either it came with standard, or there was an option for a DTMF mic as well. I don't have one of those, and they seem to be kind of hard to find, so I don't know if they're just not built as well, or if they're just that highly sought after and people are hoarding them. It's not something that's used a ton anymore anyway, so I haven't missed it, and I've got other radios that I can do that with. So back to programming. We have two VFO settings on this. there's an A and a B, which you can see in the display, and the 0 button will switch between them. Also, memory mode. It has 10 memories. One interesting thing is it can store non-standard splits in the last 3 memories. So your typical repeaters and things like that, they can be stored anywhere, but if you need something strange, that can be put in memories 8, 9, and 0. While we're on the subject of modes, one thing that a few of the Kenwood radios do that I think is neat, when you switch modes manually, it gives you the first letter of the mode you're in Morse code. So if you're driving along, you can hit the button and be able to tell what mode you're in without even looking at it. So just thought that was a neat feature that, the radio is designed to be mobile anyway. Size, I should have gone to that in the first part of the video, but this is smaller and it's more typical of the size of mobile radios nowadays. This is a TK840. So these radios are a little bit bigger than your standard FM radio. It's just something to keep in mind. But all the specs are published, and I'll give you a link to the manual so that you can see all that at the end of the video. So let's do some tuning and normal FM 2-meter radio stuff. So I want to put it in memory mode. I already have memory saved in there, so let's scan. There's a button that says scan. Easy enough. As you can tell, it's not terribly fast, but it does work. In order to get it to stop, just hit memory mode again, or one of the other keys. Anytime I want to go to 5.2, I just hit the COM button, and there it is. When the squelch gets broken, you can see the busy light come on, and I'll give a quick call. Here's your high-low power button. Doesn't make a beep or anything like that, so you just kind of have to look at it. If you push it in, it's in low power, which is 5 watts. And the high power output on this radio is 25 watts. So good power. If you need more, 25 will drive a whole bunch of amps, and that'll get you some extra reach. KE4VNC test. Now I'm at home. I was actually making a quick video review of my old Kenwood 751a.
Oh, fun! Yeah, videos are always fun. I heard that part of making a video I had to turn the volume up. I missed the first few words about that, but yeah, I just happened. Did you hear me key up and so decide to throw your call set out, or did you just happen to just throw your call set out?
No, I just threw it out because I got lucky. But yeah, now you're a YouTube star, or your voice anyway.
Oh, well, hey, if this dog will ever quit coughing, I'll say something that sounds a little more intelligent.
Yeah, well, I don't have that much time, so we'll just talk to you next time. But anyway, we will talk to you after a while. KE4VNC. Okay, so you heard an FM conversation, and the speaker isn't bad at all. It sounds, and it'll go plenty loud with the volume control here. So, if we want to tune, go back to one of the VFO settings. And it's just a standard, back and forth of the knob. Now, if you go to upper sideband, and the squelch works on that as well. Notice there's less noise, and that's something to keep in mind, because that's a good thing. we can tune down in these big steps, but if you hit, if you need to fine tune somebody, hit the step button down here, and you can see that that's 144.355.10.15 with a little period right here, .2. So you can tune in pretty fine like that, and they do that on your transmit side, and they might. No two sideband transmitters that I've ever messed with were on the same frequency, so you just set it on something and tune into their signal using the RIT. Oops, sorry, the RIT controls right here, and see negative and positive. So up in frequency, down in frequency, until you get to dead on there. And the most typical, I think I actually have it saved in here, yeah. Most typical calling frequency for 2 meter sideband is 144.20. And my radio's a little bit off. I think I was messing with my SDR trying to get it tuned in, and that's the frequency that it was synced with. So one of them's wrong. It's probably the SDR, but take it up and you can go to 144.2 on the money. For repeater operation, we'll just tune up to our repeater frequency, use megahertz, tune kilohertz with this. The one we're going to go for is 190, and that's 145.190. That particular repeater has a negative offset. This changes your offset here, and you'll see black bar, or an absence of which, like we have now, would just be transmitting on the output. So we'll move this over to a negative, because it's a minus offset. This repeater has a tone on it too. Tone board was optional. About half of these I've seen for sale have the tone board, so something to keep in mind. That'll make it a lot more useful with the repeaters nowadays. But hit the function key, that light lights up, hold down the tone, and now you can change your tone. In this case it's 156.7, and oops, function again. You'll see that the T is up there, so we should be all set to go, and we'll try keying it up. Low power is fine, and we have gotten into the repeater. K4VNC test. So, easy enough. No real drama or anything there. Again, the important thing to note is make sure you have your tone board. Local noise there. A couple of other neat little features. Well, normal features. If you want to lock out the display, you hit function and you'll see F lock right here, and you'll see the indication up here, and you can't mess with anything. So good to have on a mobile rig where you're bumping around and that kind of stuff. And just to undo it, you do the reverse. AL, that's an alert function when you're scanning and the memory 1 channel gets keyed up. In my case, I have it set to our Skywarn repeater. It'll beep and let you know that the traffic is on your frequency for channel 1. Also a neat little feature, like priority scanning sort of, except that it lets you know that somebody's on it. Some radios do that, some radios don't. You have a noise blanker feature for use in the car. Not a huge deal anymore, but there are some vehicles where you'll hear a pulse from the ignition, and that'll pretty effectively get rid of it. In order to use the RIT tuning, and it won't let me do it on FM, that's why it's complaining and beeping. You just press the RIT key in, and then it'll enable that for sideband operation. One thing I didn't see of any of the operation or use videos, that or the few of them that there are, anything about these buttons over here. See this little logo, DCL. What is that? That is digital command link, or I'm sorry, digital channel link. Basically, there's 2 or 3 models that Kenwood made that had this system in it, and it was a way to automatically, instead of you, if a channel is congested, you and your buddy want to find a clear channel, instead of you saying, hold on, going off, looking for the channel, coming back, telling them what it is, and then you both going over there, the radio will do all of that for you. You buy a modem, which is another little expansion board, and see the lights light up when it's enabled. It'll enable the radio to do that. Unfortunately, I don't know anybody with one of these. I don't know anybody with a radio that has that board either, so maybe I'll get lucky and we can actually show it in operation, but I can show you a little bit of what it does and what you'll hear. So next to this radio, I have another Kenwood all-mode rig. It does not have that feature, but we can hear the squelch burst, and so you can tell kind of what it does. So when that's enabled, I say, hey, 5/8's busy, find me the nearest simplex frequency that's clear. And the radio, I hit the channel button, it starts looking up. And so what you heard was a squelch burst on 5/8 containing a 5-digit code that the radios sync with, and my call sign, to let the other radio know, hey, and also the channel information, this is where you need to tune. And we see we have a channel link indicator here, and it is tuned to the nearest clear frequency. Take it back down and turn it off, and it goes away. Also, it also gives you a way to, it doesn't have tone squelch like the newer radios have, but it has its own coded squelch. And if I press this button here, CSQ, you'll see that indicator light up in the display there. And when I key up, oops. Okay, well there's my there's the number I have programmed in there, and there's multiple memories for the 5-digit code you can have. And so you just heard that. When you key up, it gives your call sign and the 5-digit code. So every time you do that, and if I talk, KE4VNC test, it just does that then. So kind of like the old LAPD radios. Sounds kind of neat. That way you can have a privacy code. You don't have to listen to everything else that goes on in that channel. Obviously, if you have this on, you'll still be able to tell if the channel's busy or not, because the busy light will be lit or not. Thing to keep in mind with any of this stuff, this is only part of the equation. You can have the sorriest radio on earth, and if you have a good enough antenna, you'll get good performance out of it. And vice versa. You can have an ICOM IC 7600, and if you don't have enough antenna behind it, you won't talk to anybody. So, and I don't know if it's not stressed enough, or antennas aren't really as sexy as radios are, and so people tend to overbuy the radio and underbuy an antenna, and that's just a recipe for underperformance all day, every day. You also, there's another optional board. If you see the voice key right here, I don't have that board installed. Basically, it'll speak the frequency display to you, and I haven't heard it before, so if somebody can give me a recording, maybe I can add that in at some point. So there's one problem when you're looking to buy one of these radios that affects them because they're old. The way the part was designed for the volume and squelch knobs, and also on the written RF gain, these don't get used as much, so you're usually okay with these. but a lot of times these just don't work anymore. Originally, you pressed on this dial here to turn the unit on and off. And from what I understand, the way they designed potentiometers, you had an inner shaft and then an outer ring for the contacts, and the coating on the outer ring would wear out, and so there's no amount of cleaning or anything you could do to get the radio to come back. You just had to replace the part. Thankfully, there is a part that you can retrofit into these for both this potentiometer and this one. That'll work just fine. They're actually, I believe, from a Ranger radio. Same dimensions. You do have to do some soldering, and I'll post a link to that. It's not terrible. It'll teach you some stuff. The tricky part of it really was the desoldering, getting the old potentiometer off of the board and getting the solder clear. $15 desoldering iron solved that, and I imagine you would know somebody or could find somebody in your local club or just on the repeater that would have one of those and could help you with it. Doesn't take very long at all to do, and it restores all the functionality to the radio. The only difference now is that when I rotate it down, it cuts off and cuts on like that. Doesn't make a difference to me at all. I'm just glad that it works. And so the procedure is very well documented, so I wouldn't hesitate at all to buy a nice one of these. Obviously, I'd want it from a non-smoker. Smoke gets inside electronics and does bad things to them. If you want to take the risk, that's fine, but price it accordingly. But overall, a very fun radio, and hopefully I'll get a lot more use out of it. It's not as capable, some of the other radios you can buy. Let's show you this one. There's its the next generation, was the TM255A. A great radio in its own right, a little bit different design. Removable faceplate, which is nice in an all-mode radio. That doesn't cost $1,000, but that typically those cost about $350. I think I got this one for $150, so a lot of difference in price, and this really does most of the stuff that will do, and it has these cool features, the squelch features that the newer radio doesn't have. So something to keep in mind, and something to enjoy if you can find somebody else that has the board installed on the radio. Hope you enjoyed the interview, or the review, and if you need anything, you can leave comments below.